Hello and welcome to an episode of Chamber Chats. I am Sylvia Haines. I'm Executive Vice President for Operations for the Hampton Roads Chamber, and I'm on the team for Lead 757. And today we have with us Michelle Partridge-Lan. Michelle is serving as our Vice Chair of Leadership Programs and has been a volunteer with our organization for several years. So, Michelle, you were a member of the class of 2006, and you've served the Chamber through our leadership programs ever since, practically. And you're going to be in the class of, the Lead Virginia class of 2021. Yay! So you find leadership programs valuable. Can you tell us what you have found most valuable from participating in leadership programs?
I think one of the first things that comes to mind about leadership programs is it's really about building social capital. So a big part of it is the folks that are part of your class that you meet and develop lifelong friendships with, and a lot of those turn into business initiatives along the way. And it really helps you focus in on key issues that are going on in your region. So all our leadership programs expose, especially Lead 757, exposes us to all the key decision makers in our community, along with pertinent issues or topics that are of importance going on in our region. So I think that exposure to what is going on around you, that's on a bigger aperture than what goes on in your daily life between your work and your civic engagement and your faith involvement. And I think it opens up a broader perspective to you and kind of at times takes you out of your comfort zone and looks to kind of ignite a different passion in you or a different initiative that you feel you should get involved with in your community. But a big part of the social capital I look at is, in my class of 2006, there's about 4 or 5 of us that continue to get together over the years. And ironically, one of my classmates from Lead 2006 is going to be in my Lead Virginia class. So it's kind of that coming back together after all of those years and taking leadership to that next level on a more statewide level.
Our very first Lead Hampton Roads class was in 1989, and some of those class members 32 years later still get together. So you can build some great relationships through Lead. We rebranded Lead Hampton Roads to be Lead 757 this year. So it's all brand new. Can you tell us a little bit more about the mission and vision going forward?
When we kind of redid the mission statement, we talk about inspiring proven leaders from across the region by providing unique avenues for cooperation, innovation, problem solving, and the development of lasting professionals in civic relationship. And so I think that kind of goes back to the building of social capital that we always love to talk about. And then we took a look at the upcoming class, and we have 39 participants in that class. And we're getting ready to kick off our retreat this week, on Thursday and Friday up in Williamsburg. And it's a 2-day overnight retreat up there where we do a lot of team building and bonding, and we'll let those class members really get to know each other and then kind of open up their aperture a little bit to what's going on in Hampton Roads. And then we continue on from there with monthly sessions. And our sessions really focus on the key economic drivers in Hampton Roads and those key leaders behind those, and how the business and the community all comes together. And so we focus on our infrastructure, tourism, arts, volunteerism, our government framework, our workforce and education, our military and the port. And then we end with an overnight 2-day closing retreat that's local, looking at quality of life.
Great. Sounds like it's going to be a great year for our class of 2021. So this year, as part of the Lead 757 class of 2021, we're launching a new initiative called Impact 757. Can you tell us a little bit more about Impact 757?
Impact 757 really, in the past, classes have done class projects, and we're looking to have a little bit more immediate impact in the region. So with this year's class, what we're asking the class is to identify some needs in the community, and we've committed to doing it in 5 different cities or communities or localities that Hampton Roads serves, and something that can make a key immediate impact in that. And so they'll organize as a group 5 different initiatives, whether it's a volunteer day with a certain nonprofit organization that has a project that they need taken care of or done, or whether it's a visions initiative. We'll let the class kind of, as they go through their program, decide on that. But it'll evolve into where we can expand that out to our alumni base, which we're really looking to re-engage again. And also our Excel leadership program, we're looking to make that impact 757 along with them.
Well, speaking of Excel, because Excel is our program for high school students, and because of the pandemic, we were unable to hold it in 2020, and going forward, we want to reinitiate it. Can you tell us a little bit more about Excel?
So Excel targets our rising high school juniors and seniors from all private and public schools across Hampton Roads. And we usually target about 40 in that class, 40 to 50. 50 sometimes is a little bit larger group with a group of teenagers, but we bring them in for a week. And it's really a mini version of our Lead 757 signature program. So we focus on those key economic drivers in the region. We also talk about servant leadership. We talk and look at how do you brand yourself, because your personal brand as you're coming out of high school and going into college is, what are those 3 key things that you want people to know about you, and do you exemplify those across your brand? And it's kind of we have a great session where we look at their individual personal brand and what that is, and it kind of helps with looking at resumes and internships and jobs for the future for them. And it's interesting because when you hear parents talk about they talk about their Excel kids, and they say, when my kid comes home from school, they never talk to me. They don't say anything. And every night when they come home from Excel, they just, they tell me everything. They're so excited about what's going on. And we've had so many graduates of our Excel program that never would have thought of taking on leadership positions, whether it was with their school or in their community or their church, and they take on those, because we've just kind of built that confidence in them, given them that boost, and introduced them to some of those people who believed in them. That a lot of the kids talk about how I'm talking to these key leaders in the region, and they're not talking to me like I'm a high school kid. They're talking to me and with me about how I can make an impact in my community and in my region. And it was funny, there was one graduate that a few years later I ran into, and he was telling me about a great internship that he did in our region. And he was talking about how it was a great program, but one of the things that we really did well and much better than this large organization has done is really on how to connect with those people and build that social capital. And he was like, Excel we did it better than anybody else did.
That's wonderful. I had a feedback from a parent of an Excel student that said that her daughter actually came out of her shell through Excel and went on in college. She was invited to be part of a leadership group for a major movie theater chain. The president and CEO of that would fly young people in to get their thoughts on the theater, and she became part of that group, and she would have never stepped up to do it if it had not been for Excel. That's what her mother had said. So it's a very strong program. Can you talk a little bit about the collaborative efforts in our region among the leadership programs? We have several in the region.
I think you really look now that all of our leadership programs across the region, we've started getting together. We've started sharing some best practices. We've started talking about what are some of the key components that need to be involved, and looking at the spectrum of what we have and where we start. And so if you look at the base level is Excel, which the Chamber does, and we look at with our high school rising juniors and seniors. And then there's a Campus 757 program that Hampton Roads Workforce Council is in the process of implementing now. Civic Leadership Institute, which also has a signature program very comparable to Lead 757. They have a scholars program that works with our local universities and identifies certain scholars and works on leadership components with them. And then that ultimately, a lot of times, leads people to look at the more state level, which then leads you to Lead Virginia.
That's great. So someone could start with leadership programs in high school and continue through the progression of their careers with a program right here in Hampton Roads. That's wonderful. Anything else that you would like to add about leadership programs?
I've been involved with so many years of going through my initial class in 2006, and then being involved with a number of classes throughout, and there's some very strong friendships that are built along the way through that, and I really have folks that I keep in touch with from every single one of the classes that I've been involved with, and so that's a very key component for me is those long-lasting relationships. But one of the things I always talk about is our leadership programs, whether it's Excel or Lead 757, is one of my key phrases I always use is it's like going to that first concert that you've ever been to, and you really wanted that backstage pass. You really wanted to see what was going on behind, and I always talk about how our leadership programs give you that full backstage pass experience to our region. It connects you with those people that are involved in making it happen. It takes you back into the backside of government, and the port tours, going to visit the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, and standing on top of that tunnel and knowing there's all that water above and all that traffic below, and it's kind of opening up those industries or businesses or regions or activities that you don't get to see behind the scenes as just a regular person living in this community, because we've been to a lot of these places, or we've seen them, or we've driven by, but that experience that you get in talking to the people that have been involved in developing some of these things or initiating them, and just it's that excitement that you get from that backstage pass and that backstage look at the region.
Well, Michelle, thank you for your leadership through all of this and through the changes that we're making to Lead 757 this year. It's going to be an exciting year, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you very much.